Warning. The following podcast features terrible jokes, usually about board games. Like those jokes your dad tells that make you groan. Yeah, those kind of jokes. Accordingly, Boards and Swords and the producers must insist that no one attempt to recreate any joke performed on this podcast.
Watch very closely now. 3, 2, 1. Bzow! Check that out.
We want the funk. Gotta have that funk.
Is it okay if it's okay if like when the bread touches the fries?
Do I really want to just stand still and cast a lightning bolt? No, I want to avoid you and shove a lightning bolt at Grace.
I just crap my alien pants.
By the way, I just want to let you guys know.
You hate all of us, and we're fired.
I've released poison into the AC system. You all have about 5 minutes left to live.
So much news, like all this stuff to talk about.
No, there's been some stuff, but it was all boring.
You didn't go with C.
Well, you need to go with C.
And our friends, we combined.
You've told that story.
We combined. Have I told it on the podcast?
I'm pretty sure
you have.
At
Well,
least
I'm
twice.
telling it again.
Because I just realized as I was reading this that this game's already been done. They even made a show about it. It's called Yu-Gi-Oh! And go watch it.
This is Boards and Swords.
Hey everyone, welcome to Boards and Swords. This is a podcast that we got three things to feature here. We got bad jokes, we got good folks, and then we got some tabletop games. And in addition to those three things, we also have three people, because I am joined not only by my co-host, Mr. Philip Herbig. How are you doing today?
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
All right, and you're just
Welcome
gonna
to this.
blow my ears out. Jeez.
Well, yeah, that's what I do. I'm annoying and pain in the ass.
And we have a guest with us here. We have Wayne from Adventure Away.
Hello there. How y'all doing?
So before we get into this, just give us the quick and dirty spiel of what Adventure Away is.
Well, sure. My name is Wayne Denier, and I'm one of a two-part family-owned business with my wife, Apple Reese. We're the first D&D bed and breakfast tabletop role-playing retreat in Maryland. We're in our 5th year, and we have games that take place all throughout the calendar year, and they are games that provide 10 hours of Dungeons and Dragons. So you come out to Maryland and start your stay on Friday night, check in, and you stay till Sunday morning. You stay overnight 2 nights. You've got continental breakfast, lunches catered dinner, and we provide a dungeon master. So you can just bring dice and a character sheet, run 3 whole sessions of D&D.
That
It's
was
a
an
party
accident.
every day.
that was
I'm just gonna roll with it, you know.
My finger graced the soundboard as I. Yeah,
It was a Freudian sound effect.
It was a Freudian
with
sound
that.
effect. Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, we and that's kind of our spiel, and we try to accommodate to as many gamers as possible. We're inclusive of most skill ranges and backgrounds. So if you've never played, you can come and chat with us on our Discord. When you book with us, we help with character creation and starting out. And if you're a ready to go player, you can just make your own character and run with it. And it also is a way for people to get to know each other before they come out, so they can get the most out of their gaming time.
and look, it's like a castle.
Yes. In fact, one of our locations is a castle in Germantown, Maryland.
I mean, that's awesome enough it is, but we're going to talk more about that, and we're going to talk about the D&D movie. So, but first, we have some news. It's always quiet when you do it, Philip, so I decided to do it for
That's
you.
okay. I forgot where my button was.
Starting off, no joke here, just because this is a very sad thing indeed, but this came out before we actually did a show last, but I already had a slate full. But the developer of probably one of the most infamous board games that's not created by Hasbro, Klaus Teuber. Come on, Philip, you got the German here.
Tuber?
Maybe. The creator of Settle of Catan passed away at age 70. Although it was on April 1st, so that was that's kind of weird. But regardless, Teuber is what I'm hearing. Teuber. Okay.
Teuber?
I'm being
Yeah, that
corrected
makes
by
sense.
the chat room, so
That makes sense.
I will go with that. Yeah. Klaus Teuber, the legendary game designer and creator of Settlers Catan. The Catan Studios published a press release announcing the passing at age 70 after brief and severe illness. He's best known for designing the mega hit board game Settlers of Catan, which later just became known as Catan. He won 4 Spiel des Jahres awards and produced such time-honored early Euro games as Barbarossa and Drunter and Druber, repackaged as Wacky Wacky West. But his legacy will always be how the popularity of his game, Settlers of Catan, essentially brought Euro games onto the world stage and broke open the market for so many other Euro games to be published and successful. So, yeah. Legend.
Legacy.
Yeah. Like if there was going to be a Mount Rushmore of gaming, I feel like it'd be like him, Richard Garfield,
Roland Bush now. No, we're getting into digital.
Yeah. Just talking about the tabletop. So, all right. Moving on to something not completely depressing. We just did a bunch of news stories last week, and this is how I think that we could never do this show weekly, because there wasn't a whole lot. I've got a couple stories here, and I had to kind of hunt and peck for the last one. That's why it's going to be out of left field. But we're gonna have two Funko things here too. When Indiana Jones asks for ice cream condiments, what do? You throw him the whip. Am I supposed to do it then?
Womp, 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 womp.
There you go. Funko Games is an out of quartet of games inspired by the Indiana Jones movie franchise, including Indiana Jones Cryptic, Indiana Jones Throw Me the Idol, and Something Wild, Indiana Jones releasing in April, and then Indiana Jones Sands of Adventure coming in June. So first off, Funko's going to be getting into the escape room style games. So Indiana Jones Cryptic is going to be an escape room style board game that has Dr. Jones's journal and maps. You must decipher texts, uncover clues, and face evil forces. I feel like that's probably the best route for this. There was that one boy game that FFG did a while back that was called like The Adventurers, where it was like an escape from. It was like a Temple of Doom. Like you had to escape for like one chamber had a ball rolling down that you had to you moved at each turn and had to escape from, and it thematically great. Problem was each room had a different set of rules, so it was like, okay, now I got to learn 4 games in the midst of learning 1.
It sounds like the Legend of the Hidden Temple.
Yeah, exactly. And Throw Me the Idol, 2 teams race to outmaneuver each other, led by Indy and his rival Balak, through a dozen different challenges inspired by themes. Ooh, it comes with the Golden Idol statuette.
Oh, cool.
And then, so Something Wild is another. That's a game they already have. This is just a themed version for Indiana Jones. You try and collect sets and runs of character cards to score points. They featured 9 different Indiana Jones characters as pop figures with 45 character cards and 10 power cards. Also included is an Indiana Jones pop figure. Go figure. The Funko Games people have pop figures in their games. And then Sands of Adventure is a timed cooperative game in which players take on the roles of Indiana Jones and his friends as they try and rescue the Ark of the Covenant. I don't know.
Again?
Like I said, I feel like the only one of those that kind of remotely impresses me intrigues me is the puzzle game, the escape room game.
Yeah.
The others, it's like, yeah, we've kind of been, even if it didn't say Indiana Jones on it, we've been down this route with like a million other different games.
Yeah.
We tried Five Nights at Freddy's from Funko, and it was pretty decent for a co-op. So I'm not sure if other people have played the other Funko games or what the quality is like.
They're good. They make some great stuff. Especially they do get pigeonholed a lot of property-based stuff. I still like the Funkoverse. I will keep all those things because when my nieces and nephew get to the point where they won't eat dice, that's going to be a great way to teach them miniature tabletop games.
Woo.
Look, you
Yeah,
can have
Chris,
Bring 'em up, right?
they make molds. You can just make edible dice.
Sure, but that's not teaching them good hobbies. I don't want them to then get the real dice and think that they can be eaten.
That's a quitter's attitude. Anything can be eaten with enough willpower. Also, I'm looking at Sands of Adventure.
Mhm.
You just don't have to play, and the Nazis will lose anyway.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot all about that.
Hey, scroll down to the more games section. What does yours say on there? Yeah, Leatherface Texas Chainsaw Massacre miniature set.
Oh yeah. Is that just a bunch of minis, or is there a game? Hold on, we're going on a tangent now.
Yeah, we're going into
it's
left field here.
Okay,
people.
so there's a Texas Chainsaw Massacre board game coming out, and then this I'm assuming this just upgrades you from miniatures or from
standees to
standees to
miniatures.
miniatures. Yeah.
I mean, they could go House on Haunted Hill, where it's just kind of controlled by the mechanics. But I'd love a game where one player gets to be the baddie.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Oh, and then there's the note. Philip, did you see I sent you the video where they're making a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossover into Zombicide? This isn't a news story, but it
I did see that.
should.
No, yeah, I did.
For
I didn't
real?
see the video. I saw
It
the
probably should have been a news story, but so we're going to tangent here. No joke here, because this is funny enough. So they've got Zombicide White Death is the latest Kickstarter. It's the newest fantasy Zombicide game. But if you remember Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, they went back in time. So this is like a crossover between like Turtles in Time and Zombicide. Hold on, let's see if I can get a turtle pic.
This is unhinged.
Yeah. Look at that there. So Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Zombicide.
Oh, genius.
no one remembers TMNT 3.
I don't remember the movie. I just had an action figure, so
Yeah.
action figure.
Okay. Okay, I'm back now. I'm back. I'm with you now. The movie was number 3
Yeah.
because the SNES video game was number 4. So I'm like, wait a minute, that was number 4. What are you talking
They
about,
didn't make
dude?
a fourth one. Not in that series.
In the movie they did, but in
Yeah,
the video
yeah.
game they did. Yeah. I'm like, what are you talking about, bro? I am
Don't
not
cross
that
the
drunk.
streams.
Yeah.
Don't cry.
All right. Sorry.
Oh, there was an arcade cabinet.
All right.
It's
Tangent.
$700 from Kohl's.
I'm redirecting us before this gets worse.
All right.
Tangent
late.
aside, what's George Lucas's favorite food? It's chicken. It's got light and dark meat.
Ba-dum-bum.
So Funko Games has got another game here for you. So this one looks like it's going to be kind of like a CCG, but with pop figures. Is kind of what it looks like they're doing here. Star Wars Rivals. Funko Games announced Star Wars Rivals, a new expandable strategy game for release at Walmart starting on the 4th. May the 4th be with you. And then later into retail in 2023. You pick either light or dark side and create a squadron of character miniatures. The game offers fans highly stylized miniature sculpts. So this isn't like Funkoverse where they did pop figures and just this. This is actual characters. They're vinyl figures, but they're not like the pop stylized kind of figure. That's just the giant head with the little beady eyes. Each character, so the goal of the game is to collect the most location cards in the area of play. Each character will have 3 action cards featuring various abilities. The game supports 2 players. Comes in a bunch of different configurations. So I was looking through the gallery here, and the only thing that shows promise here to me is that, okay, you've got the box here that's the premiere set, gives you like 2 characters, but they got like the boosters. All right, why did it not? There we go. Well, there you can see the actual figures. And then if you go to the booster packs, if I can eventually get to one, where is it? Nope, not that one. Oh, that's a lot of characters. I just saw that now. Oh my God.
Yeah. It says 20.
Jeez.
Whoa.
I mean, it is Star Wars. But the cool part is now that I finally found the picture. Okay, here's a booster box here. And this is just a single character, but apparently all you need is just a single light side character and a single dark side character, and boom, you can start playing.
Pretty accessible.
Yeah, I feel like that's the cool part, because like, you know, normally a booster pack, it's like, oh, I gotta buy the like main game and then I can buy stuff, but this is just like, oh, what's this box? And then on the side it's like, oh, if you just buy a white and a black box, you can start playing. Yay! Now I'm gonna go spend all my money and never buy anything else ever again.
It's pretty nice that they make it 2 different kinds of boosters, so you know you'll at least be able to play instead of having to blind box
Right.
it if you get to.
Yes, there we go. Beetle says C-3PO versus the Emperor.
Let's go.
It's only $320 for an entire case.
Oh,
This does remind me a bit of Dice Throne, and that's a great game, and
Yeah.
I support it. But this, you could get it a little cheaper probably with this and be able to play.
yeah, it does. I am getting Dice Throne vibes. We'll see. There we go. Some of the... Yeah, so it looks like you get Ventress and Vader.
Ventress, Vader, Cody, and Luke?
Yeah,
Is that Cody?
I think so. That would make sense since you got Ventress as kind of like the Clone Wars dark
Clone
side.
era, yeah.
Yeah, and yes, Beetle, I think it is blind boosters. But it doesn't look like, the only weird part is it's got miniatures, but it doesn't look like the miniatures do anything other than just look cool.
Yep.
Which,
But it's probably going to help get the younger audience in and buy
Right.
them up. And
and it's a toy. Yeah. I mean, it's Funko, like, you know, you kind of expect it, but it's just weird that there's not a mechanic for it at all. But we'll see.
yeah.
It might be something I try at Gen Con. I could see them totally like just like having a stack of these on a table and you just grab one as you like as freebies. That is what I would do. If I was a marketing person, I would take like a case of them or like you know, like 100 of them and just stack them in like a pyramid, and just the single booster cases, and then just like let people take 1 or 2 and just give them away. Because if they like it, they'll come back and buy the box set or buy more, you know. Maybe like a limited one. Star Wars Hero Clicks. Yeah, I kind of feel like that's the kind of what we're doing here. But it looks like it is more card play and there's some dice in here. Whereas Hero Clicks, you actually did. I never actually played, but I did have some. I think you did move them around.
Yeah, you get a certain amount of action points a turn. You can read the abilities on the dial, and it tells you whether or not they're tough or
Right.
fast or shoot multiple shots. I liked it. I played like an X-Men team at one point, and then I customized a couple figures to make Mega Man. And I stole pieces off of other characters.
All right. So, moving on. If the captain of the Serenity is happy, does that make him malcontent? So, Firefly the board game is apparently 10 years old. I can't believe this. So it's going to celebrate its 10th year anniversary with the biggest collector's edition yet. And Philip, I know you've played this because we bought tickets to play this at our first Gen Con.
Was it that one?
Yeah, it was this one. This was the one that when they did the Kalibasa expansion, I think it was. And we bought tickets to play it where they had it on like the playmat that they didn't sell but looked super cool.
What was the one we played at your place?
That was the same game. I'm pretty
Okay,
sure.
all right, gotcha.
Same game,
Gotcha.
but I just didn't have that expansion.
Okay, gotcha. Or the playmat that
Yeah. So in the world of board,
make
so
these awesome things, and then we can't have them.
I don't know if I agree with this statement. In the world of board games, Firefly the Game has been a fan favorite for over a decade. I mean, maybe, but I know a lot of people.
It's been a fan favorite.
Sure, okay.
It's been the favorite of a fan.
Okay. A fan's favorite game for over a decade.
There we go.
So apparently it's 10 years old, so they're making a collector's edition. It's going to have 10 years worth of Firefly the Game content and much more to complete your Firefly experience. It's more packed than Kaylee's toolbox. So it's gonna have. They're gonna do. I think it's a Game Found is what they're gonna do. On Game Found. According to the developers, it'll be shinier than a stack of Alliance credits and will contain exclusive contraband that is hidden in the box. In addition,
destroy the box.
Huh? Yeah.
Are you gonna have to destroy the box?
Yeah. In addition, players who back the project early will receive an exclusive set of holographic big heroes. All right. Sorry, you mentioned the destroy the box. Side tangent, I promise. So my daughter Chloe has gotten big into Cards Against Humanity because she's at that age gap where, you know, she's in college now, like freshman in college, and that's the, you know, the thing where like that's when it becomes that's when that game is the most appealing.
Mm-hmm.
Is that college age? So we were at a thrift store, right? And she saw they had the bigger, blacker box, but empty. It had the cards it came with, but it was empty. And I was like, oh, you should buy this. She's like, oh, yeah, it's got some cards inside. And then I was like, yes, but if you cut inside the box, there's a hidden card, because I opened it up and I was like, this doesn't look like it's been cut, so I think the card is still hidden inside.
Ah, there you go.
So I won't say it here. It's the dirty joke that you can make with the game called the bigger, blacker box.
Yes.
But it wasn't until, I guess she must have forgotten I told her that. And then, like, literally, I want to say it was like 2 weeks ago or a week ago when she was home for spring break. She was like, by the way, I finally looked into it and there was a hidden card inside.
Yes, your father knows when.
The first game with the legacy box, rip it up during the first game, comes in a Ziploc bag to store the game in afterwards. I mean, that's what we do anyways, right?
Wasn't that the opening to Glass Onion?
I'm just imagining Chloe finally sending it, and you just reply back, "Do not cite the dark magic to me. I was there when it was written."
The game has been a favorite of fans. They say plural here, fans, for a decade.
Two fans.
Two fans. And the developers hoping the special edition will help celebrate the game's success and bring new fans into the fold. Promised to be the ultimate Firefly experience for fans of the show and board game enthusiasts alike. You know what's really funny about this story? Literally, I just sold my copy like 3 weeks ago. Because like we really only played it with our friend Jeremy, and he moved away, and I didn't see us playing it anytime soon. Plus, I've played Star Wars Outer Rim, and I think that's a much better version of that game. Because it's Star Wars, and like it's just better. It's a lot more compact. The Firefly game was very, very messy.
There was a lot of stuff going on.
There was a lot of stuff going on. And I mean, Outer Rim does too, but it's still in a little bit tighter package. You can't have lid lift if there's no lid. I love it. So one of the things I hate is when you put everything back in the box and the box doesn't sit flush, the lid doesn't sit flush. So that's what they're getting on me for. All right. Last joke and last news story here. And like I said, I was kind of reaching for this one. If Mario's brother made a spirit board, would it be a Ouija board? So literally, I just typed board games and then I went to news because this is how pathetic I was for trying to find news stories. And then this came up and I was like, I can't not talk about this. So as soon as I get the camera to refresh, there it goes. And it's kind of cut off, but just bear with me. Trap from the Devil. Priest warns Christians not to play Holy Spirit Ouija board game. So there's a game, Holy Spirit board by Holy Spirit Games. So anyone that grew up in a very conservative Christian house will remember that there's always like the Christian version of everything, you know, like Christian Pictionary. Of everything. So
apples to apples.
Yes. So somebody made a Christian version of a Ouija board, calling it the Holy Spirit board. And now a new board game marketed as a Christian version of a Ouija board has been criticized as satanic and a trap from the devil. The game advertises, so you can get this on Amazon as a way to help people talk directly to our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Get the answers you need. It can answer all of life's most important questions straight from the man himself. Like other spirit boards that are often used to contact ghosts and demons, this is a one-way ticket straight to heaven. While it looks like similar to a Ouija board, this is your difference here. Includes an image of Jesus crucified with 3 angels, a dove, and a cross to be moved. Oh, you use a cross to move around the board. Oh, that's so nice. The devil is looking for different ways that he can trap all the victims he can take with him. This is one Ouija games, and all of this are forbidden. So, I mean, the response is pretty standard, but I just love the idea that somebody decided, like, hey, you know that Ouija board that everyone thinks is for like seances and stuff? Let's make a Christian one of those. So
Branding, baby.
that's what was that?
I said branding, baby.
Yeah. All right. Philip, why should people why should people back our Patreon?
Why should they back our Patreon? Chris, that is the age-old question, and we're going to answer it here today, all right? Patreon.com/boardsandswords, boardsandswords.com/Patreon. You get access to not only the live feed, everybody has access to that. You can watch that for free. You get access to the bonus bits. That's where Chris and I just shoot the shit for, an hour, whatever, however long we're feeling. And we talk about the articles, we talk about life, we talk about the weird stuff that happens in chat. You get to hear all the behind the scenes stuff going on.
We'll see.
And you get all that. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm still editing the last week, so that'll go out soon. But in the last bonus bits, we talked about the Afro Man drama with his singles from when he got police raided to.
That's right.
I discovered a new animation series called Black Templars Hate Furries. So
that was some hilarious crap right there.
Yeah.
And you get all that. You get all that for $1 a month. $1 a month, folks. You know what that is? That's you don't upgrade your drink twice in a month. Boom, you've got podcast content from us.
Yep.
Okay.
That's where
it's free refills anyway. You don't need the large drink.
It's where the lovely standby screen that I've got that eventually this thing. There we go.
Exactly.
That's where this
great
came
stuff
from.
right there. And at higher tiers, Chris will roast the board games that you love with great horrible dad jokes. You get a Boards and Swords branded D6 in the mail.
Yeah.
Once a year.
Hypothetically.
Sometimes.
I haven't sent out the past 2 years.
And then
They're
we're
still
waiting. All right. One of our goals, we are going to get together and we are going to play a Valentine's Day module of Love Mutants of Castle Heartache.
So, yeah. So, yeah, the boardsandswords.com/Patreon. But, oh, by the way, Philip, looks like the Battletech Mercenaries Kickstarter passed $6 million.
What? Okay, what are how many stretch goals are they just randomly adding? That's the thing.
Well, they announced the 8 million mark. That's how, because we're rolling towards that final 48.
We are.
Yes, Beetle points out that if you back at the $5 mark where I'm supposed to get jokes, you can opt out of the jokes.
The jokes are still gonna happen.
Yeah,
we're just not gonna
we just won't air them.
Yeah, we're not gonna connect them to you.
Right. It won't be your fault.
That's right.
All right. So with that, let's talk. As I'm just gonna leave this image here over in the background.
That's great.
So everybody here, we've seen the D&D movie.
It's D&D.
It's been out what, 3 weeks now?
Something like that.
Did it came out the end of March, right? Time flies. But yeah, so we went and saw it. Philip and I actually saw it together, which I highly recommend. If you ever have the chance to go see a movie with Philip and I, don't. Especially if you don't like people talking during your movie, because Philip and I are all the time, we're like old women, just like, hey, did you see that? Did you see that? Hey, what about this? Like during the whole.
we are cutting up, and it is great.
Yeah, we're we're during the entire movie. I mean, and I imagine some of this everybody's doing. Where like you're looking at your D&D group, which all of ours was in the same row. We all went and saw it together, minus one or two people, and we're just like looking at them, and like pointing, like that's you, that's your character, all right. Like
that's not my character, and then they do something. Okay,
what's her name?
That was me.
I can't. What's the actor's name? That
Michelle
was
Rodriguez.
Michelle Rodriguez. I was like, as soon as she started going at it, I was like, there's Philip.
Yep.
That's Philip's character.
And I love how long it takes Edgin to finally get unbound, and he's just like, "Donk, I did D4. Proud of me."
So, let's see. What's our initial thoughts here? Philip.
It was my initial thoughts were so like I appreciated the memes and the jokes that came out beforehand of like there need to be like the main characters need to be individual people, but every background NPC needs to be the same person in a different outfit. Like I completely appreciated all that stuff.
Or you go see the movie and it turns out it keeps getting rescheduled.
Yes, that would have been. But this going through and looking at the like the cast and the writers and the crew and all that stuff, like this was a movie written by people who've played D&D.
Yeah.
And that was extremely evident in the very first scene. Because right at the end of that scene, it's like, wait, but you're approved. You don't have to. What are you doing? Why?
And you can go on the internet, and they actually they filmed some of the crew, the cast and crew played D&D.
Playing D&D.
Prior to them filming the movie.
Yeah, it was, all the comedy in there wasn't forced.
Right.
That's always a good thing. You're like, oh, he found a new layer. Did he eat the other one? What the hell?
I think there's a very like Kid in King Arthur's Court element to it that they're able to balance, where they are from this world, but they are being thrown into extraordinary circumstances, and just like us being in extraordinary circumstances might like be really weird for you, and you might have to deal with it with humor. It's just like, are you kidding? Like there's these moments where you really feel like you could be in one of those characters when they're just like, can you believe what's going on right now?
That dichotomy you're talking about, that anachronism kind of piece. You know what other movie that reminds me of kind of is A Knight's Tale.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Like the tone of comedy where it's like a modern day sense of humor but set in a different style. That's kind of what this reminded me of. So what did you think, Wayne?
I really enjoyed the movie, and I try to enjoy movies that I know that I could like for a lifetime, and this is one of those moments. It's like even watching the Mario Brothers movie, I felt it's like, I might as well not go if I'm going to get my hopes up, but I kept my expectations measured. And yeah, I was just charmed by how from the heart it felt like that this movie spoke to me as a Dungeons and Dragons player, and I felt seen. And every moment I felt like this excitement that all these other people are going to get to see what the vibe is of D&D.
Yeah.
And someone's going to walk away going, maybe I'll buy the books. Yes, go buy the books. Give it a shot. Welcome, one of us.
One of us. For me, I think so. For me, I felt like when I walked away with it, my initial impression was like I was entertained, but like it's not the greatest movie that's ever been. But that also kind of makes why. It also hold on. Let me finish. All right. Because I thought about this later, I was like, oh, it was very like the plot line is very like formulaic. Like I even leaned over to Philip and said towards the end, like one of the end plot line pieces, I was like, oh, I bet this is gonna happen. Like I said it way back in the beginning. Yeah. Like it's very a formulaic beat by beat. But then I got to thinking, but that's what a D&D adventure is. Like that's kind of the point. So it's kind of like it's a great D&D movie, but it's not like the greatest fantasy movie. Like if you're just expecting, you know, if you're expecting like a great fantasy tale, probably not. But if you're expecting a good movie that just needs to be themed around D&D, then you'll enjoy it. Do you need to see it in theaters? Probably not. Like
Yes.
no, I would
Gotta
put
get surrounded by the speakers.
Oh yes, okay. That's why I have you just get that 5.1 and just set them like all around you. That's why they literally call it surround sound.
I'm disappointed I don't have a copy at home right now. I would have skipped the theaters if I could have gone home with a disc.
Right. And Beetle points out they won't win awards, but that's not their purpose. They're there to share a story where we can have fun as an audience. That's my only thing. And it's one of those that like I agree with that and I like that. It makes me wonder because it's not an indie production doing this and it's like an actual movie. Like I just hope that doesn't mean that we'll never get anything like this again. You know,
yeah.
But I think it did I don't remember what it. I gotta look now.
Well, I think there's a lot to prop up the possibility for one or two more of these, and part of it is what makes this movie so strange in its structure. And I think what you're talking about with the formulaic plotline, that's actually a skeleton for other things to be propped up on. So I think I see that the most in like the Paladin. There's characters and situations where everything is set up so that it's very predictable, but the characters aren't. And you're watching characters evolve. And something that happens in D&D that other moviegoers maybe wouldn't understand is that characters change a lot over the course of a story. And they find themselves and they discover what they like. And we get to see that. And it's kind of cool that like Chris Pine, for instance, isn't playing some character that was written from beginning to end that he is playing.
Right.
It really looks like he's discovering who he is as he's being that person. And I love that layer. And that also makes it kind of hot swappable. Like you can just make a new party. The second movie can be a completely different cast, maybe related.
But at the same time, you do want to know more about.
Oh yeah. I mean, like, who doesn't want more Owlbear Druid and see where this whole crew goes? I mean, it looks like they're set up to be like an Ocean's 11 type thing. They're the found family.
I want more
now.
Jonathan. That's what I need.
Jonathan.
Oh man, Beatles hurting me. It's better than the WoW movie. I actually like the WoW movie, but not like.
Wow, I like the WoW movie too.
This was a better movie. I will agree. It was better than the WoW movie. His wife goes low bar. Jeez.
I feel bad because I didn't see it.
It's not. It wasn't a rememberable movie, but it was It was another one of those. It was enjoyable.
Yes, had a good time watching it.
Yeah.
One of the cool things is seeing like one of the directors, John Francis Daly.
Yeah.
Remember Waiting?
Remember Freaks and Geeks?
Yeah.
Remember Bones?
Yeah.
Remember? By the way, it's done worldwide. This movie has done over $157 million, and so it has done more internationally than it has domestically. Is that surprising? I think so. I feel like that's surprising.
A little bit.
Like that, it's done. Yeah, it's done
by 9 million.
Yeah, you know, it's done 74 million at home, 83 million overseas.
Oh, and a related note, did you all see the official Dungeons and Dragons marketing commercial for Japan to sell like the original, like the books in the board game, TTRPG?
No.
It's excellent. It's all like izakaya style, like that they're students in school, but then they transform into the D&D world.
That's really cool. Good. Oh, the directors of this also did Game Night. I did like that movie. So, and I see that now. That was a good. I see that now. Was that was what's his name? Arrested Development guy. I think. Trying to remember. I can't remember his name. Like the actor that was in Game Night.
Oh, Jason Bateman.
Jason Bateman.
Yes.
He's doing pretty well.
Yeah. So let's see. By the way, did you see that they made a plush of the freaking huge dragon?
Yeah, that's so awesome.
Oh, awesome.
I showed
I want
that.
it to be the size of a beanbag. You can jump on it.
It's funny because like my orange cat is just like that chunky. So as soon as they made as soon as someone in our group posted the picture of the plush, I sent it to my wife and daughter. I was like, look, it's our cat.
I also have that cat. Mine's in the gray model, but she's well loved. Her name is Sabine after Star Wars.
$35.
Well, that's because there's a lot of stuff in there.
There's a lot of dragon.
They got to pack a lot of stuffing in there.
There's a lot of cultists in that belly.
Oh, that's so crazy.
Hold on. Now you got me curious though. With all these like hidden slight things, I want to know. Now I want to go to the IMDb and look up. Like they always have like the trivia stuff.
Oh.
Or like goofs.
Well, because we picked up on the cartoon
Hogwarts
cast being in the maze.
Yeah. So there was a couple things. There was I didn't catch that because I only saw like a tiny bit of the D&D cartoon. I never saw that much of it. But somebody pointed out that when they're in, so there's a section where they're in a maze and there's another group. We're not going to spoil anything, but these are all minor plot points. There's a point where the crew is in a maze with another group, and the other group is the group from the D&D cartoon.
Oh, yeah.
And then also one of the scenes, and there was a commercial I saw later, or like an outtake somewhere where someone was like, "Oh yeah, did you see that we filmed in the Hogwarts castle?" And then because like Philip was one that elbowed me, and like, "Look, it's Hogwarts."
Yeah. One of the hallways and courtyards, yeah.
And I was because I was like, huh, that's familiar. And then you said that, and I was like, oh, that's cool. So trivia: Chris Pine agreed to appear because of the role of Edgin is very atypical for a fantasy film leading man, and because he sat in on his nephew playing a D&D campaign and saw how much fun he and his friends were having. That's cool.
I gotta say, it is fun to watch Edgin and know his class.
Yeah.
And just like every other character, if you've got that encyclopedic knowledge of each class and spell and monster profile, you're like really looking to see where they nodded. And it's so subtle, his ability to be a bard, and it's almost like it's mixed with being the party face.
Yeah.
But even like he's persuading all the time, he's deceiving all the time, he's making those skill checks, and it's just blended into the story. It's him being cool and fun and funny, but like I think on a second watch through, I would really want to like see where he barded.
So yeah, that is. By the way, I saw a thing on this is a movie where like I feel like I do need to watch it again because you need to like watch it to get the plot, but then like it's one of those like every time you watch it, you're gonna pick up on things that you missed the first time. Like like Beetle says, there's a lot of Easter eggs in the movie, and like I saw here, I pulled up the trivia. Apparently, Wizards of the Coast made stat blocks for all the main characters.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, tell me they're downloadable.
I'm assuming, like, obviously somebody that's got to be somewhere. All the spells used in the film, while largely unnamed, are all spells used in D&D. An overhead shot as they're walking through town, you can see two rust monsters fighting over a scrap of metal. Just skimming through some of the other stuff on here. This is the 4th Dungeons and Dragons film? Like I knew there was like the one with like Jeremy Irons.
Uh-huh. There was a one with Jeremy Irons. I think Vin Diesel was in it.
Really?
The D&D movie? Don't quote me on that.
Actually, The Witch Hunter, and it's not D&D in it itself, but there was a crossover where he worked with Wizards and Matt Mercer and made the blood hunter class.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Dungeons and Dragons 2000 with Jeremy Irons, Wrath of the Dragon God, and then The Book of Vile Darkness.
Weird.
That's sad that Jeremy Irons didn't lock that down and make that movie sing, because he was pretty good in the
That
scenes
was
he was in.
a phone. I'm phoning it in, Jeremy Irons.
He's like, I'm giving you off the shelf Shakespeare, and you're gonna like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the year 2000. Yeah, so like
That's what we were getting. It was
Yeah.
that. It was Aragon. It was meh. You know, it wasn't First Night.
Okay, like yeah,
No, it wasn't
so I
First
wasn't
Night.
I wasn't the only one who was like, okay, the staff that they use, the hither thither staff was like, hey, it's a portal gun. They just
That's
used it
portal
like
gun,
the
yeah.
portal gun.
Yeah.
The opening
Oh.
prison cart drop off is blocked just like the I thought that when they were showing that I was expecting like I was like, man, this is reminding me of Jurassic Park. But yeah, there are 3 shots in the film directly taken from Velociraptor scenes in Jurassic Park where they're bringing one of the prisoners, was it orc? Half orc? I can't
Who
remember.
were they bringing in?
The-
I think
the-
they were bringing
cell-
in a
the
half orc or something,
cellmate.
I remember.
I
Yep.
just can't remember if it was a full orc or a half orc.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's hard to tell because, I mean, like height-wise, they were pretty imposing. They did have the tusks and like a green skin color, so it could go either way. He was a jerk, of course, but that's not telling.
Okay, Beetle thinks he was a full orc, so I'm going to defer to that. So if it's wrong, it's his fault.
The stat blocks are free to claim on D&D Beyond.
That doesn't shock me.
Yeah, the thing that was, did anyone play the Stranger Things set? Like, you're playing their
No.
characters, right?
I think so.
Okay.
I think that was the
Their
one.
characters,
I think
like
that's
them
one-
from the movie, or the characters they were playing in their D&D game in the game?
Their characters in the D&D game. So it felt a little
Okay.
weird because it wasn't nostalgic enough trying to
Right.
play. It's more
They
like
didn't. They didn't. They didn't play it enough to where you could really connect with the D&D character.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which that was my when someone pitched the show Stranger Things to me, like as soon as I sat down and watched it, I got hooked. But they were like, "Oh yeah, it's got D&D in it." I'm like, "Okay." Like I
got
do that on
D&D.
Friday nights. I don't really need to watch a show about it too.
It's
You
as much
say
as
it-
any show.
You say that, but how many times did you go watch that movie of Dyson Men at Gen Con every year for like 4 years?
The blonde was cute. Shut up.
Ladies and
And
gentlemen,
they shot the movie near Baltimore. That's a local Maryland movie.
ladies and gentlemen, Philip Herbick.
Yes.
You know what?
Most
Local,
of my daily motivation.
you know what? I feel like that's a good transition from local D&D events to talking about Adventure Away. I feel like that we're not going to get a better transition than that.
There we go. Yeah, see?
So, you briefly told us about Adventure Away, but what gave you this idea to begin with?
Well, our family, I like to go on vacations, and like most people do, and my wife and I will, back in the day before our son got a little older, we'd just go out and let them hang out with the grandparents for like a week, and we go to a bed and breakfast, and they're oriented towards being comfortable, and it's nice, and it's a little travel away from home and see the nice countryside and stuff, but we would bring the Nintendo Wii, or we would bring board games, and we'd bring magic cards, and then just started the gears turning, thinking, well, there's a whole age of people growing up that are now in their 30s and their 40s, and they might be gamers, and they're looking for something other than wine tasting. Although, did wine tasting, it was fun, but we did a little bit of thinking about it, and then we launched our experiment in 2018, and we've operated as a lean startup, and we partner with other properties, so we provide the experience, and we currently work with 3 different properties in Maryland around the Frederick area.
Okay,
So-
I was going to ask if you guys own the properties or...
No, we're the games company. So there's 4 of us now. Me and my wife started it, and she's the operations director. So she does hospitality, social media, marketing, and sales. And I do dungeon mastery, and we also have 2 additional dungeon masters, and potentially more joining us for a hospitality side too. So we'll set everybody up, bring in a load of snacks so that you're well hydrated and fed while you're playing. We get food catered from local restaurants, and then we do a continental breakfast. So we make sure that you're comfortable. We work with all dietary constraints. We are currently working with trying to secure a venue that will be wheelchair accessible. That's a difficult thing to find, but we're always trying to accommodate more. 'Cause so we do like gluten free and any other allergies every time. We're very careful. And then we have grown from just me running games 3 times, or actually 6 times a year in the first year, to where we have them 3 times a month now. And so we have
Wow.
2 new dungeon masters, Brian and Tasha, and we have no less than 2 games a month throughout our calendar year now.
That's pretty amazing. So has this become like a full-time thing for you guys yet, or is it still like something that's part-time working elsewhere?
It's a beer gig type of thing. I was in comedy improv and black box theater for a bit. You could do that for a few hours a week. And that's kind of what we are and what scale we are. And we are trying to scale up at all times. But, we can only scale so wide and so vertical. And part of the way we did that is work with more properties. Part of the way that we've done that is to bring more people on. So we keep growing. And that gives us all something to be engaged in and to do. We have our own day jobs still, but we're passionate about this, and it's an opportunity for some storytellers, artists, and people growing the gaming community on our staff to be able to contribute this opportunity for people to celebrate their birthdays, have a bacheloroni party, meet a bunch of friends that you haven't seen since high school. Sometimes people are in different area codes and they all want to fly into DWI or Dulles, and they hang out for the weekend and remember what it was like to be around the table in high school before all of the adult responsibilities kicked in and that kind of thing.
So what you skimmed over it briefly, but so what's a typical weekend schedule look like for someone that's doing like a package?
Yeah, you'll travel out and arrive in Maryland on Friday night, preferably around 6 p.m. So wherever you happen to be coming from, local or flying in, that's kind of the goal, is to have everybody checking in and getting comfortable around that time. So you can book just a single room for yourself or 2 gamers if you are just going out to spend the weekend, maybe with a loved one, significant other. You'll be grouped up with other gamers up to a group of 6 or 8. Or if you have a whole crew, you could just book the whole place. And after you get settled in, we'll do a session 0 on Friday night. And that's where hopefully during the Discord conversation before, everybody will have their characters and be ready to start exploring the setting and maybe get into what's happening in this environment and what are the goals, are there any threats, what's the hook. We try to get that out there and have a little bit of light play on Friday night. And I tend to let people do a little respec at the end of the day if they've been playing something that they're not really sure they're doing a wizard for the first time, and it's like, I don't like this subclass. No, fix it before the morning. It's cool.
Right. Here's your respect token.
And we get food brought in the middle of that, so we'll take a quick break to eat, and then that's about a 3 to 4 hour block of D&D there. On Saturday we have 2 big blocks. We do the AM block and we do the evening block. So we have breakfast in the morning, start rolling into game play around like 10 o'clock. We'll get into the meaty part of the module or the setting there, leading up to a break time. We give people 2 hours to just chill, like play Switch, take a nap, whatever, from 2 to 4 o'clock. And then come back and we finish it all off. And sometimes we run to like 10:30 or so. It's whatever everyone's feeling. Sometimes some of us older folks were like, nah, plot's good, 9:30 is good. I'm gonna go to bed, and then other people are like, no, we got to grind to 10, 11. So we just feel the room, you know. And yeah, we get lunch and dinner brought in those days. We'll do like sandwiches at lunch. We'll do like Peruvian chicken at dinner. We work
Nice.
with local restaurants, and we mix up the menu sometimes based off preference. But we always pick places that have dietary restriction knobs to adjust on things, so everybody has what they like, or actually, or at least has an option.
So, a couple of questions. Are these one-shot type adventures? So it's all self-contained in the weekend.
Yeah, we tend to start people at level 3 or 5 based off of experience and like scale.
Yeah.
3 is really accessible for new players. It's still enough power with like a subclass option for most classes, so an experienced player isn't too robbed. But if we want to like turn the juice up, we go to level 5, and a party of 6 level 5 characters can mess up a lot of stuff. So that's where we go if we want a little bit bigger game. And yeah,
And
we okay, yeah, brain just trailed off
yeah,
now.
and as you mentioned, these aren't pre-generated characters. Everyone's bringing what they want to bring to play, and they get to train. And so when you said session 0, it's not like your typical session 0, because it sounds like there is some planning beforehand. It's more of like the world session 0, or kind of the how did the group come together sort of thing, right?
Yeah, it's kind of a like a half messy session 0 if it were like a street taco or food truck or something. It's like we were gonna have a moment where if players haven't met one another in
Right.
the real world, they're sort of meeting one another there in the game. And the characters might be as well. So this might be the origin story of the team up, but maybe not like where you came from, and that might be revealed more through just role play through that day. And then also to just caveat to people that there's some forgiveness on making your character and just now playing it for the first time at the table. I don't want anyone to spend their whole week-long vacation playing a character that they just didn't vibe with and
Right.
they felt stuck in.
But people come to the event with their characters already, like their sheets all filled out for the most part. Do you ever have
Yeah,
people have never played D&D before?
it's only happened like once or twice. Most players that we talk to, they're like, I got D&D Beyond, I'm cool, just let me know what the options are. We do point buy or um,
The standard
I think,
scale?
yeah, standard array is fine too. And we'll just allow anything that's in the 5th edition supplements. It used to be that you would do Player's Handbook +1 for Adventurers League, and we followed that, but we just they've changed Adventurers League, where as long as it's all 5e published on the shelf content, other than DM's Guild and Unearthed Arcana, then it's acceptable. So that's what we do too. And yeah,
Gotcha.
you should be able to get it all done and on your own. But we provide the Discord so people can go like, hey, is anybody a tank or a healer, and then make some decisions there. Or if it's a completely new player, we'll say, DM our DM, and then we'll work it out. I think it's only been like 3 or 4 people that are like, go ahead and make one for me, and then we go, sure, here you go, gen one up. But there's so much in choice and expression, and people pick these characters that like it's like we get a lot of characters that I feel people wanted to play, but they've been in their main for a while. Like
Right.
this has been just bubbling, and they're like, I wanted to be an unhinged gnome druid, and you're like, we are here for it. Let's go.
Let's go. So do you ever have returning groups where they're like, we want to keep playing these characters?
We have about 3 groups that have come more than once, and that's been a pleasant surprise because we try to make our vacations affordable, but we realize they are vacations, and these are things people can only do once a year. And maybe you have adventurous family and you want to like go to the beach one year and you want to go skiing another year. So I don't feel any love lost if you come and stay with us and have a lot of fun once, and it's a lifelong memory. But some people want to come back and do it more, and that's
Yeah.
been great.
Well, you always hear those stories of like this group's been playing D&D once a year for 30 years. So I was always curious if you start to see, I could see this forming some sort of a tradition like that.
And they're
Yeah,
still only level 7.
Especially when let's be honest, like half the trouble when it comes to D&D night is figuring out food. So like getting people to agree on food. So if it's all sorted ahead of time, where it's like, we just paid somebody else to figure it out, I mean, like, that's like half the stress gone.
Yeah, when I was running my own personal group when I started, and the number keeps getting bigger because years keep passing. I think it's 14 years now. I started right as fourth edition was launching. Unfortunately, you know, pity my poor soul.
Don't worry, that
But
was me. I was same boat. Or no,
it's me.
Sorry, that was when I started buying books. I played in 3.5.
Yeah, and I got introduced to I think like D20 Core and AD&D 1 before that, but then I was like, all right, this is my time. I'm going to buy the books. And we did. We after a year, we built a cabin. It was like 8 players, and we crunched through all that stuff. And I tell you, it is a lot, and it's something that we've created a discipline for. We're always improving the food experience. We're always improving the DM experience of making a module that's just the right size, that doesn't feel too small or too big, that gets somewhere cool at the end of Saturday. You know, it's been fun after 5 years to figure out how, like, what the science is behind it.
So, Beatles saying like, "Oh, everyone's so young." Now, do you ever have people? You've mentioned 5e. Do you ever have people request other editions of the game?
Yeah, and we've gone this way and that about it. At first, it was like, well, if there's demand for Pathfinder, Pathfinder 2, maybe we do that. If a couple of our DMs have competency, if they want something in D&D fifth edition or fourth or third edition, that's where it got a little weird. It's like, yeah, there's a lot of 3-5 players out there, and there
Right.
might be fourth. But then we sort of like honed in on top of mind brand and said, most people know how to play 5e. So let's put it there, and that I think will make it so it's not going to put off too many new players, and we can have new and experienced players at the table, and that'll be fine. It's changed in the last 2 years where 5e is still our main pillar, but there's other systems that are good. And there was the mix up with OGL, and we don't want them to feel like they've got their hands around our wallets. And in that way, we've considered some more systems, and we are going to run games empowered by the apocalypse coming up. And we're already on our second year of running Avatar: The Last Airbender, the tabletop RPG. and
Nice.
that's been a
Is that
blast.
the Avatar Legends?
Yeah, we did one that's in the Republic era setting, so it's the most modern part of the timeline. But I don't know where we're going to go this year. We may continue that or go back into like Aang era or even Roku. I don't know. The gates are wide open.
Yeah, it's the Beatles bringing up Black Flag, which is the new Cobalt version of Cobalt Press version of D&D. That's like our attempt to improve 5e.
Nice.
It was funny you mentioned that and I saw on your schedule the Avatar, and I just happened to be in Target the other day, and you can actually buy the Avatar Legends starter set in Target.
Wow, that's awesome.
Which I
Because
think
it was just a few months ago that this stuff came out. And
Yeah.
we got the Kickstarter in finally, and they're in Target now. That's awesome.
I want to say so. Yeah, Magpie Games you can now get in Target. I want to say this is the only other RPG I've ever seen in Target other than D&D.
Good on them.
So that's really awesome. Somebody had asked some Star Wars D&G. They want the West End Games D6. Of course, Beatles says that. Somebody had asked on a weekend, how many hours in total are you running? On this flyer here, it says 10 hours, but that sounds like that's like the average.
That's about accurate. And like I said, like it's all about
That's the
the story. You know, like sometimes it might end at 9, sometimes it's 12. You know,
Right.
it's all about where you're all in. It sets an expectation of about how much you can get, but it goes a little this way or that. We don't want it to feel unsatisfying. That's the thing. You know, like we're gonna find the button where it ends right.
Yeah, and so you guys have, so like you said, you have private bookings where like somebody might buy out a group, but you also do regularly scheduled dedicated events for people to jump in, like the one you've sent us for the May 12th through the 14th. It's just like a D&D, and then I've got a schedule here that's talking about, let's see, August 11th through the 13th is the Avatar Legends. There's a horror weekend. So tell us about that, October 13th through 15th.
Yeah, that's our dungeon master Brian, who has a lot of experience on Powered by the Apocalypse and some other systems like Blades in the Dark. So he's going to be writing something fun and custom and surprising. Him and I have both worked on some horror settings in 5e on games that we've run here. In fact, he just finished up running Strahd. So they had some adventures in Barovia. February, I ran a Barovian setting game that was a death race where Strahd had gotten a hold of infernal machines from the plains of Avernus, and it was psychotic, and that was an awesome time. And I've got a setting called The Haunting of Wellbach Pier, and I think that he's got some as well. So yeah, we like the spoopy vibes here, and we try to keep a couple of those on the calendar.
All right, and then I got to see another one for October 20th through the 22 Wizards Weekend.
Yeah, we've done some of these games that are more like tightly themed focused, and we've done some games in the past that were themed more like towards the Potterverse. We're branching out with that a bit to try some more, and like one thing that's certain about this year's game is it's going to come as direct from the Strixhaven setting.
I was about to ask, this sounds Strixhaven.
Yep. So we're going to be very heavy Strixhaven, but that might morph into some other things in the future. There's, and this is kind of Apple's platform for writing. She's in operations, she's in hospitality, but she's also in musical theater, and she's a performer, and she's an artist. So this and Avatar are her modules that she writes for the company, and I run them. But these are her penned original adventures.
Nice. Now, do you ever have people, like, for instance, do you ever have, like, a Tomb of Horrors group? Have you ever done that?
I haven't done anything that's been, like, brutal permadeath dungeon kind of thing. Mostly we have kind of compromise between narrative, dungeon crawl, social encounter, just like variety pack. But yeah, I think it would be cool to throw something on that was like Tomb of Horrors, Tomb of Annihilation, Keep on the Borderlands, just some uncompromising, punch you in the face puzzle dungeon. I think we just need demand.
That sounds like, yeah, we're also getting that's a 4-minute dungeon.
Died in the lobby.
Have you ever seen the there was like a Reddit thread where somebody was talking about like how to survive Tomb of Horrors, where it was like, oh, you just go get a bunch of sheep and just herd the sheep into the entrance and just have the sheep go trigger all the traps.
I think as brutal as that style of dungeon is, it deserves to be solved that way. Like a glitch exploit for people speed running Legend of Zelda or something.
Yeah.
It's just like doesn't make any sense, but blow it up.
Yeah, Beatles asking, will Boards and Swords go to one of these and live stream them? Yeah, Philip says make it a Patreon. Yeah, we'd have to have a lot more funds in the bank for that.
We'd have to
Not that I'm opposed to it.
We'll have to do an on-premises upload download speed test to see what streaming looks like, but this is the kind of thing we've thought about before. It would be great to stream a game from Adventure Away.
Not even, you wouldn't even necessarily have to stream it. You could do like just filming it and then just kind of like chopping it up into like a highlight reel.
Yeah.
I feel like that's probably the better way, because like everybody says they want to watch like an adventure, but when you're talking 10 hours, that means somebody's got to sit there and watch for 10 hours.
There's a lot of downtime. I mean, I have kept on Critical Role in the background for a while, and I have like tried to watch it directly, but you're watching people play, and you know what it's like when you have that moment where someone's trying to figure out how much damage a fireball does and what half damage is, because only one of them's got the reflex save. And you're trying to math through, and you're like, "Oh god, no one wants to watch that."
Yeah, exactly. That's like I've tried to watch Critical Role, and I just can't. Like when I watch actual plays, for me, I prefer the edited ones, like One Shot and Campaign when they're with edit for audio. Like my favorite video, I really love the Dimension 20 stuff with like
highlights on TikTok.
Well, yes, of course that, but yeah, like even just the actual production, they just put a lot more into it and kind of cut it down to it's like, oh, it's only like a 2-hour chunk of time that each episode is, instead of like 4 hours for each. Like weekly. Like I like no, I can't watch a 4-hour a week. I have too many other shows that are too many other podcasts.
Oh, and they've got to hire some poor freelance editor that is just there to cut out long rolls and wait times. It's
Yeah.
like, all right, your job is to take out approximately a half hour of people staring at their character sheets.
Yeah.
Oh God.
We should get together for a Doctor Who weekend game. I do.
Hey, which Doctor Who?
Well, no. So the Cubicle 7 has a Doctor Who RPG where I think you can. I haven't broken open yet. I have it. It was one of those. I bought it at a discount sale. But if I remember right, I think you can play as any of the Doctors. Like instead of a character sheet, you choose a Doctor, and like I'm playing the 10th Doctor, I'm playing the 4th Doctor, or whatever, or any of the companions. Because I think the idea is each session's like one of the crossover type episodes is effectively what you're doing.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Wow, that sounds cool.
That's one of those like I have it. It's on the shelf out there that I've never played. You know, like that wall of cartridges behind you. Have you played every single one of them?
I've played every single one, but I can tell you from my skill level in the 90s that some of those games got played for about 45 minutes and I never got past the first level.
Yeah. All right, so if people are interested in this, so I had up here, let's see, let me scroll back. So we got price-wise, so it looks like for one person, it's $4.95, right? Or for like a couple, $7.95 for the whole weekend, and that's your food and your housing and the activities, which, like I said, it's a lot of money, but it's a steal at the same price because, like, I know places where you'll pay $4.95 for a hotel room. Gen Con!
A night.
Yeah, a night.
Yeah, and it's not nothing. It's meant to be something that
Right.
takes a little bit of time that you step away, you do. It's a memory. It's not something you do all the time. And what we're looking at here is fitting you in where you might go to King's Dominion, or you might go to Hershey Park, or you might go to Ocean City. You know, you're going to get a place, you're going to be there a while, you're going to do something, and you're going to eat. And we're just giving you that. We're giving you that here in Maryland in our backyard, and it's D&D. You can't get that in Ocean City, unfortunately. I like to go fly kites there, but this is it. If you want, something a little comparable. It's not Gen Con. It's not PAX. You know, it's
No,
not.
it's cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you've even got options here for a castle. That was when I first got the email and talking about this, that was the part that stood out to me is like, first of all, I was like, there's a castle in Maryland?
There's a castle in Maryland in Germantown, and it was created like 100 years ago, turn of the century, and then renovated over years. So there's like a lot of old character to it. It has like a turret staircase, and the outside looks well. You see, we do a lot of our promotional photos there because it's just like a lot of nice screen space and old architecture.
Right.
And
Is it this one? Is that the?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. And we usually do promotional photos with all our groups. And if people give us permission, then we'll use it in our marketing. It feels it's just better to show people what this is like. You know, this is this is the experience. This is the fun. We're not trying to hide behind a bunch of slogans and things. This is like what we're doing.
Look at these light bulb hangers over here.
Yeah.
That's
We'll also just send you a bunch of photos to go share with your friends too. We could set up a Google Drive and put these up there.
So how aggravated would the property owners be if there were accidentally a couple hundred Nerf darts just left all over the place?
They probably would be a little against it. They like to
Like
clean up
we
the
would
outside.
do our best to pull them all back out, but I mean,
I got it.
And as dedicated hospitality people, Apple and I would be sitting there for an hour picking up every single one.
I got it. You get the riding lawnmower with the mulcher, and then you just
there you go.
fill the
And
bag with all the bits.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, I'm sure the yard's going to look great after that.
Why is my yard orange?
They make green darts. You can, we'll switch to the green zombie darts, and
Yeah.
boom, it'll blend right in.
It's fertilizer.
Except in October when the grass might start dying, so that would be a different.
Yeah, we got a question. Which so one of the pictures on here even shows a projection theater. Which location is that?
It is this castle in the basement.
Ooh.
There's a theater that was set up by a professional audio engineer and is actually certified for full surround. And
There you go,
I
Philip.
have I've watched movies in there. It feels like you're in the movie. It's
I'm loving
all
how episode 3 is on the screen.
right.
Got the Arc 170.
Oh, yes.
Battle over Coruscant.
Yes.
There it is.
See?
Yep.
You really feel it. You're in that cockpit there.
That's like begging for you to do a D&D movie premiere when it's available on streaming.
Right there. Yep.
Yeah, we'd like to do more games that are a little bit more like KOTOR, like adjusted and fun and themed. Like one that we would love to do is Hobbit House in Burkittsville, Maryland, which you might know from the filming of the movie. Wait for it. Trying to think. Blair Witch Project.
I was about to say Burkittsville, isn't that Blair Witch?
Yeah. So there's a campground that built a hobbit hole into the side of the mountain, and we go every
Ooh.
year. And they have a real nice big oak table that would be perfect for like 10 people playing D&D, but it would take a crowd that wants to do tent camping and all the sites around that hobbit house. And then there's some logistics with food. But that's the thing. It's like we've kind of boiled down our weekends to be like very paint by numbers. And what's special is the people and the stories that we tell. We mix up the kinds of games a lot. But, it's hard to drag a bunch of stuff out of the woods. Or even down to the movie theater. It could be tough for people that are my height, 6'2", hitting their head on the thing coming in. But something immersive with a video component would be a lot of fun. I'm always thinking about that. Our DMs have different playing styles, and I like to add music to mine. I like a immersive environment. But yeah, this has been a blast.
So that's adventureawaymd.com. I don't think we fully stated, but this is in Frederick, Maryland, is where I'm assuming most of these are around the same or within a certain area, all the places.
Yeah, they're within about a 45-minute bubble centered around Frederick. Yep.
So Adventure Away, and you said you guys are still booking for the May 12th or May 12th through the 14th, I think is what it was.
Yeah, we've got a full calendar of events this year and a bunch of openings. So you can come to our website, Adventure Away MD, to get more information, see the weekends that are available there. We're also on Facebook and TikTok. We're having a lot of fun there, making silly videos.
So there you
Our
go.
schedule.
That's one way. TikTok, a bunch of random events.
And we mostly just sit right where I am right here and make dumb jokes about either D&D or Dark Souls or whatever's in my head. And for anybody that's interested, we've got a game coming up May 12th that has a room left. There's a June 16th game that's just been added. August 11th through 13th is going to be our Avatar Legends game. There's a room left in August 18th to the 20th. There's a game in September that's actually special guest dungeon master for the role-playing game Necrobiotic by its original author. They'll be coming out to visit and run that game for us. And then October has both our horror game and then our wizard game. So those are all up there. And we do a la carte bookings where you can just reserve your room with a deposit of $100 per person, and that'll secure the room right on the spot if you're ready and you know your schedule. Or just email us if you have any questions.
Gotcha. Beal says only a 9-hour drive. Hey, I've driven longer to that to go to Gen Con, so I don't want to hear it.
Yes, we have.
Buckle up.
That's only like driving back to my parents' house there and back in one drive.
That's halfway to Texas.
There you go.
That's halfway across Texas.
Touche. All right, that's a great place to end this. So I'm gonna roll that beautiful bean footage.
That's going to wrap up our show this week, everyone. We want to thank our guest, Wayne, from AdventureAwayMD.com. Check out their website and, come to Maryland and play D&D in a castle like we were all meant to in the first place.
Yeah.
Go to boardsandswords.com/live. That's going to have the schedule and the links to all of our streaming channels so you can check us out live and see all the shenanigans that happen in a completely unscripted show that I'm not reading a script. I'm actually not reading Chris's script right now. He's got this lovely script on the screen. I said, forget that noise. I'm doing my own thing.
Send us feedback. If you've got other guests, other people that you'd like to hear us interview, feedback at boardsandswords.com. Hey, if you do book and come to Maryland, let us know. We might we may come visit. Email us, feedback at boardsandswords.com, Facebook at Boards and Swords Pod, and at Boards and Swords Chris on Instagram. All of this can be found boardsandswords.com with everything else like links to our Patreon. Check it out to help support the show. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Maybe. I forgot to say this during the actual show. So Philip and I have a big Vegas trip going on, but I'm going to try and film some content while we're out there. So we may stream the show live, but it may be just me playing the recording of like I get back with enough time to edit the footage, and then I think I will stream live and just kind of hit play and then chat along with anyone who's watching. So we'll be back.
Are you gonna MST3K your own video?
No. I won't be. I won't have my video going. I'll just be in the chat typing. But no, that would be very on par for me for bad joke wise. But if that happens, all that'll be on there. It'll be on our Discord too, boardsandswords.com/Discord. So keep in touch. Let us know. In the meantime, remember that every gamer has a story, and it should play out in a castle. Good night, everybody.
Good night.